Okay, so we are live and in session once again, my friends, and welcome to another edition of the Frustrated Healer podcast. Let me just get you guys here onto the chat overlay. Give me just a sec here. And there you go. Gosh. It's me and the chat, my sidekicks. Oh boy. So it's just a nice little cozy session right now. It's just a few people. It's Victor, Kat, and Prim. Hello, hello. And oh boy, can I just say I'm so glad it's Friday. I am just so glad it's Friday. It's been a week. I mean, look. You guys know I teach essay writing. And the thing is, I know this is a little segue, a little tangent. And it's like, I realize that your competence and your future is not dependent on how well you can write an essay. But when the session questionnaire asks for your grade level, and you give me the name of your school, we are well and truly doomed. This is supposed to be the future, and it is bleak. I'm just... I'm just asking, are you undergrad? Or a graduate? What year are you in? It wasn't asking you for the name of your school. Why would you write the name of your school? It is one of those days. I'm glad it's Friday. I'm glad my week is done. Twitch. Waiting for the guys on Discord to get pinged. Oh, you're graduating next week. Congrats, Kat. Man, that word. That word in the VTuber sphere, though, it's a dangerous, scary word. But in this case, we congratulate you, right? I'm glad to hear that. My goodness. We have... It's always so cool to me, so interesting that, the variety of folks we have on these streams. We have some young folks who are just graduating, and then you got me and the rest of the old fart group. I mean, you were saying these little podcasts are like little history lessons for you, and I guess in certain ways it really is, because you didn't grow up with a lot of the games that we like to reference and talk about on this podcast, so. But, man, chat, those two words, right? Get good. It is the warcry of the toxic. It is the sign of player skill elitism. And it's really messed up how it used to kind of just be part of the common vernacular of competitive games. You're trash talking each other, you're getting heated, you're getting into it, you trash talk the other guy. And then the weird part is, in certain games, it has actually crawled into the single player sphere. There is that meme of Hornet. Always sounds like get good, and then as you fight the Radiants, which is really still a cool boss fight. We don't talk about absolute Radiance though. Regular Radiance is cool. Absolute Radiance is bad game design. In my opinion. But then, right, that's exactly that. Oh, you're complaining about absolute radiance. Oh, you're saying it's an unfair boss fight. Oh, get good, scrub. And like, oh. And then that's when you start having to justify yourself. You make these distinctions, right? It's like, no, it's actually bad game design. It's not it's an unfair boss. And you start getting into arguments. Of course, there are gonna be those elite players are gonna be like, oh, it's actually so easy. All you need to do is you know. It's all optional content. Yes. The part I'm talking about is absolutely optional. But radiance is required for the best, quote-unquote, best ending in the game. Absolute radiance is just really an optional challenge tacked on at the end of the final DLC of the game. It is insanely difficult. But for reasons that feel unfair. Yeah. Man. Have you guys ever been on the receiving end of a GIT call? Might not even be even on the receiving end. Have you given the GIT call? Are you secretly toxic gamer too? Because I'll tell you what, back in the days of my internet cafe escapades, my Dota boy days back home, let's just say I've said a few things that I'm not very proud of today. You don't think so? You didn't have gamer friends growing up? I see. Yeah, Dota somehow, I don't know if it was just the atmosphere. There was something about that game that really enabled that toxicity in me. Oh my god. It's just maybe because everyone was so toxic. So when I finally had a chance to fight back my own way, I took the opportunity just for, any feeling of schadenfreude, So you were toxic before gaming. Online gaming became popular. You have broken controllers to fit. Oh no, Chris! I have a couple of broken. I have like 1 or 2 broken controllers from back in the Zade as well. I also have a messed up keyboard. One messed up keyboard. It's very old and actually it's out of commission already. That one was because of Dota. There was something there, man. I don't know. But you rarely play multiplayer games. Keep it that way, Vic. I mean, it's okay if it's more like... Never mind. Actually, I was about to mention like... I was about to say multiplayer cooperative games and I'm like, wait, never mind. I just realized I would rather hunt solo in Monster Hunter than ever hunt with people. I made the mistake of hunting with randos, dude. My god, they were such worthless scrubs who were clearly carried to their rank by people who were better than them. Good lord, I said, what is this piece of shit babysitting job that I ever signed up for? I might as well have hunted myself. See, he's coming out. You're pretty toxic and lol. To be fair, Prim, I think everyone was toxic in LoL and Dota. I mean, I think I briefly touched on this the other a couple of few episodes back, but Pinoy Dota, Philippine online Dota games are horribly toxic. They are infamously toxic. So what was happening there was, you know how each of the major regions has like a country that they tend to see infamously? You know how we have Of course, NA in itself can be a little bit toxic. But like in the EU servers, for some reason, they talk about some like Russian gamers apparently. For the Americas, they talk about the Brazilian gamers. I don't know, like there's just a level of toxicity. That's the Philippines in SEA servers. To the point that there are SEA servers and there are Philippine servers. Yeah, like we have separate servers for Philippine games. Essentially, it was the community deciding, okay, put all of them in that corner. And the problem was, it was so annoying because I didn't want to keep playing with the toxic gamers. I would want to play with other people who were just trying to play the game properly, you know? But in the Philippines, my god, Dota there was so damn toxic. Like, you, there you go, better lighting. You score first blood on a poor bastard, and there's a 50% chance they'll quit right there and there. Yeah. You score first blood on someone, there's a damn good chance that they'll quit. And it's like, come on, man, can we just play a proper 5-on-5 game? You never could. Out of like every 100 games, probably get 1 or 2 that were kind of decent. We were on some serious copium there. Like, we're just trying and hoping that this game wouldn't be so bad. And then what eventually happened was, I kind of just played into it, no? I was like, you know what? I can't really play on any other server either because my internet was shit back home. So what I did was, alright, if I'm gonna be forced to play in these Philippine Dota games, what I did then was, I played not to win, but I played to make the enemy team rage quit. I would use the most salt-inducing strategies and just grief the hell out of the enemy team and make them quit. And it usually worked. It got to a point where I had to host the games because in the client we were using back home, if the host player quit, everyone gets disconnected. It is peer-to-peer. So what would happen was I would have to host the game to guarantee that the game continues, because I would, if I was on the enemy team, sometimes I would target the host of the game and make him quit too. And sometimes when someone quits after that, now I got a sense of pride and accomplishment. Oh, man. The things I was saying back then, guys. Oh my god. I too am a reformed former toxic gamer. Well, am I truly that reformed, or is it just hiding under the surface? Man, I was saying some pretty messed up shit, chat. I was like, okay, I'll tell you one line that I was saying. This is in the Philippines, right? You know, it's a third world country. You know, it's kind of bad. The situation is kind of bad over there. So I was saying, I was like, you might win against me today, but you'll still be poor tomorrow. I'm a horrible person. I really shouldn't have said that. I know it's too mean. It's so bad. I'm like, when I calm down after that game, I'm like, I should not have said that. Oh my god. I know. Similar things were said in League of Legends. Similar things were said in other competitive games. And so sometimes I don't even feel like it's not necessarily that I'm that much of a reformed gamer. It's that I just left that scene completely. The last thing I played was the last MOBA I played was Heroes of the Storm. 07 to that game. Yes, I know that game is still around, but it's no longer really being supported. That thing is practically dead. That was a pretty fun game, but unfortunately it was kind of like baby's first MOBA. So the quality of the teammates you could get there too were feels like home, just like LAS Latam South server. It might come back if Microsoft resurrects it. I mean, here's hoping, but I mean, I'm not expecting too much now, you know. And it's crazy, right? Whether it's, even if I try to get out of it, like, okay, let me not play a multiplayer game. Let me just play a fighting game. Still competitive, but now it's one-on-one. And sometimes, chat, sometimes the salt you can feel in a fighting game is even worse than multiplayer games. Because it's like with the multiplayer games, you can kind of blame your teammates, right? In fighting games, it's like there's no one to blame but yourself. And sometimes you feel like such an idiot, and it's like, nothing I'm trying is working, and you want to just throw the controller. Oh. But then, yeah, you have to kind of rise above the salt. Like, just make sure that, okay, if you're losing, it's very, very tough, right? Because like when you're losing, what you're supposed to do is, okay, why am I losing? You know, you sit down, observe, okay, what am I doing wrong? Why do I keep getting hit by these moves? What do I need to change? What do I need to improve? But when you're too salty, you're not thinking about that. You're like, ah! You can take the gamer away from the toxic, but can never truly take the toxic away from the gamer. World of Tanks! Oh no, Lion! I had some friends from back in the day who used to play that one a lot. Kind of fell off of it. They moved to Genshin. In Genshin, the only salt-inducing thing truly there is the gacha luck. But I mean, to be fair, honestly, the gacha in Genshin is decently generous. You know, you can sort of guarantee the characters that you want. And I've heard that the current meta of Genshin is kind of wild. But then, that brings me to a strange phenomenon, right? About how the get good mentality is also in single player games. It do be wild here in Genshin land. Like for Genshin, if you guys don't play it, there is an optional challenge dungeon there called the Abyss. Okay? The Abyss is completely optional. You don't have to do it. You can clear it and it'll give you some decent rewards, you know, every now and then. But the thing is, with Abyss, sometimes it's a time-based challenge. You have to beat the optional dungeons there within a certain amount of time, and then you'll be rewarded more the better you perform. It's like a star rating, no? And there are so many builds, so many people out there talking about the meta of a single player game. It's like, oh no, this is the best meta for the Abyss. Oh, you should be using these strats. Oh, you should be using this character. Oh, this character, you know, like in the gacha, like, oh, this character sucks. They don't contribute anything to the gacha, to the Abyss. You know, it doesn't help you clear it any better. Like, yeah, but she cute. You know, you have that disparity. You have that disparity in mentality, right? And then, of course, the meta purists are like, oh, but that character sucks. It's like, oh, you just can't clear Abyss because you suck. You do this, you do that. And it's like, is it really a skill issue, though? Like, it's tough for me to accept the get good thing in Genshin when your power level is purely dependent on luck anyway. Like, everything, like, how strong your character is purely dependent on how lucky you are. Right? Or by wailing. Exactly. And the thing is, I always felt some sort of accomplishment. Because I was, before I left the game, I was consistently clearing the Abyss in Genshin without ever wailing on the game. I felt kind of accomplished there, you know. I was like, oh yeah, I don't need to worry about your meta, and sometimes I would even get away with bringing an off-meta team. And they're like, oh, there's no way that's supposed to work. And I'm like, eh, keep good. Nah. But it's like, it's really such a strange phenomenon for it to be in a single player game, because it's like, bro, let the person play however they want to. It's not as if, like, I would kind of get it more if it was in a multiplayer game and someone was effing up. You know, it was a team-based game. Someone's being the big, the big weak link because, you know, they're not playing the game properly, so you're getting a little bit annoyed. It's like, oh, you're wasting my time. You know, this game is like, every match is 30 to 45 minutes, and you're just, you know, I have to spend the rest of this time just stuck with you. You suck. Oh, you know, I can kind of understand that because I have felt that way multiple times in those multiplayer games. But in single player, come on, man, just let them play how they want. You've seen people clear the Abyss with Amber. This is a get good movement, exactly. Those flex builds, right? You know, Freminette being physical and a 4-star makes him not good, but you love him so you'll make him work. Exactly. I had a friend who was an Amber main. It was almost like a big middle finger to the meta. But, you know, that was the way they decided to play. That's the way they wanted to do it. So they'll go and do it. And to me, it's like, you're not harming anyone else's experience by doing wacky stuff. So it's like, more power to you. But, there's a but. When you... Oh no, here I go. Alright, it's because it's someone I know. When you go and ask for advice, alright, I'm not gonna tell you to get good. But when you ask me for advice, and I give you the advice, don't ignore that advice and then complain that you suck. Huh? Like, the solution to your problem is literally right there. You know, they were asking, oh, Sen, what's a good composition for, you know, this team? You know, who should I replace? You know, what's a good composition for this boss? So I give him a good composition. And, you know, I said, okay, you know, send me your roster. Let me help you. Sends me the roster. And I'm like, hey, this is a really good option for that. You can just replace that with that. And it's like, oh, but I don't want to. That'll make the game too easy. And I'm like, you're here complaining to me that the game is too hard. You're asking for advice. I give you the advice. And now you're telling me you don't want to follow my advice because it'll make the game too easy? the hell is wrong with you? My God. I was like, all right, hopeless case. Some people are stubborn sometimes. It's one thing if you're stubborn, but it's another thing to ask advice and then not listen to it. Or how you tend to see a lot of the toxicity for single player games and whatnot for those kind of challenges when people ask for advice. How many times have I seen forum posts, right? How many times have I seen forum posts of people saying like, oh, I can't beat the Capra demon in Dark Souls 1. Oh crap. Asking for advice for Dark Souls sometimes that's why that game has a negative reputation. Well, the community of that game has a negative reputation because there's so many skill elitists there. You know, like, oh, how do I, finish? How do I fight this boss? And they'll just say, just make sure not to get hit and then hit them back. And it's like useful advice, asshole. You know what I mean? Like, forum post the unholy trinity of GIT, GUD, MMOs, and single player classics Merblobos. Yeah, there it is, Jeff. Yep. I mean, yes, the Souls-like meta is absolutely just get good, which is why that genre is such pure fuel for these elitists. It's so irritating. It's like before too, like in Monster Hunter, I would see these posts like, oh, what's the best weapon to counter the Diablos or whatever? How do I beat it? And some smartass in the forum, of course, just answers, hit it until it dies. I'm like, useful. It's like, it's so irritating. It's so irritating. Yeah. Which then really brings up the whole strange thing about skill-based games, no? To kill the cyber demon, shoot it till it dies. That wasn't advice, that's the official manual of Doom 90. They knew. All the way back then, they knew. God damn it. Sucks. Hit it till it dies. Just be sure to keep dodging everything and just dodge everything and then hit it when he's not attacking. Like, ah. It's even worse in Souls too because there's PvP in Souls, and there are multiple factions in Souls games that are dedicated to just griefing other players and invading your world. It is very irritating, especially because in Souls games, usually they have a level cap thing where if you're only at a certain level, players can only invade or join your world if they are only up to like 5 levels above you or something like that. And of course, what happens is you have these guys with their dedicated level 1 PvP builds. And they're they're just spending so much time doing that so they can invade any world. And of course, if you're like a low-level player at the time, you're just still exploring and whatnot, you get invaded by a player that's so much more well-equipped than you are, who knows all the ins and outs of the game. And it sucks. It sucks. No wonder people get so toxic about it. So it's like constant back and forth, no? From a dev perspective, you once had a guild complain about one-handed bar dancers. Excuse me. Bar dancer weapons. Not knowing those job needed resistance as in the later content. And then they rage quit afterwards. Those jobs absolutely needed shielding at that stage, so you designed the one-handed weapons. Yeah, that's Ragnarok. They wanted normal equipment more than the recommend. I know, well, people will stubbornly go and, you know, play the way they want to. And it's... sometimes, most of the time it's fine. But when they complain that they're constantly dying, but it's also their fault that they're consistently dying, you provide them advice and then they still don't follow it. Now that's what you call skill issue. Oh, man. And it's like... What is it? What is it that makes people so toxic? It's like... it's fine, Sen, you can say... you can say Monster Hunter! Oh, man, you pinpointed that, Prim. You dissected that. That was pinpoint accuracy. Yes. Yes, it is. Oh, man. But, you know, sometimes you just have to wonder, right? Like, why are people so, you know... Well, why are you so focused on the player skill elitism thing? You overcompensating for something? Gaming skill doesn't translate to IRL success unless you're going pro. Even then, right? Like, what? Sometimes it's those kinds of things that also drives people away. When there are people who tell me like, oh, Sen, I'm thinking of picking up League of Legends. I'm like, don't. Do not. No. It's like, if you're not prepared for the toxicity, if you're not prepared for that kind of environment, away. You don't need that stress. You want to play games for fun, right? Play games for fun! This is not worth the stress. That's why I left. That's why I left competitive games for the most part. The only thing I play now is Street Fighter 6, and I have to shamefully admit that I have once or twice rage quit from a match. And it was so irritating because I was just getting hit by everything. There was nothing I could do against it because I hadn't really studied the matchup yet. I was still very new to it. And so, yeah, like I was just getting my ass handed to me and I wasn't having fun. So I just closed Street Fighter 6. I just disconnected from the game. But I will say, chat, I would go back. I keep going back every now and then. I've improved a bit. Got Blanca to Platinum. And recently, I did actually score my first rage quit. It was so satisfying. I'm like, holy shit, I actually made someone rage quit in a fighting game. And I'm like, oh, I am hooked. That is it. That is the moment of glory that you will never forget. Like, you've reached a skill level that's good enough that other people are now quitting. And I'm like, oh my god. Back in the day, people complained that Monster Hunter made no effort to teach you how to play. Now they complain that it does. Monster Hunter Freedom 2 on the PSP had some pretty good in-depth tutorials for the weapons. Those were pretty good, honestly. Most Korean MMOs never even bothered to make a tutorial. And since we're on the competitive gaming part, you now have nothing to do after your server shut down. You've regressed back to LoL even though it's just Aram. To be fair, Jeff, if I ever jump back into League, I would just play Aram. You know, it's actually kinda scary. A little bit terrifying. It sneaks up on you. Just a little thought at the back of your head. Just says, hey, don't you try playing League again? And I have to say, no, get away from me. The older games had good training quests, but they were often squirreled away in their own sec. Okay, that's a fair critique, GT. Definitely. Yes, it was. Yes, it was. Even Aram in P8 server is freaking... Jeff. Let's put it simply. Remove the first part. You get, because what you said. Sen, even Aram's in P8 server is freaking toxic now compared to 10 seasons ago. You could have just given me the sentence, Sen, P8 server is freaking toxic, period. Okay na. Oh, man. Jesus. Yep. And then there are the weirder ones too. When it comes to like the skill elitism, right? There are gatekeepers. There are gatekeepers in that, oh, you can't play this well, then you don't deserve to play this game. I'm like, you were a noob once too? What the hell is this? Right? Although I understand sometimes that it can be tough to play with newbies because like they're making a lot of the fundamental mistakes that you've unlearned, you've already corrected a long time ago. But it's like you have to be patient with them because, you know, these are new players trying out the games that you like, and who knows, you know? Most toxic you've ever done was carry a newbie in 4U to G rank. Then 8 for Game Changer on his first quest! You jackass! Let me give you context for what that means, chat. You know how in Monster Hunter you can eat right before a meal? There is a meal effect called Game Changer. And what happens is, you know, let's say you're just hunting one particular monster. Let's say you're hunting Rathalos. But on the monster list, there is also a question mark, right? That means that can be a random monster that will appear, you know, within the quest as well. It's a random monster. If you eat for Game Changer, that random monster is gonna be crazy strong. It's either gonna be a Rajang or it's gonna be a Devil Joe. And those will make your quest way tougher. They love to stick around too. Are very irritating. The moment the game stuttered, you forecasted back to camp and waited for the cart! Victor says you need a bit of passion to play games, otherwise you'd only watch YouTube videos all day. Some people get excited to play League. You got back into EVE Online! Jesus. Oh, that is some intensity there, Vic. EVE Online is that's one of the games I've never touched. I've always been so intimidated by EVE. It's like books upon books of like manuals and things to read and like just to even get started. Damn. Yeah, EVE is way too much for me. Therein lies the fundamental flaw in the concept of get good. Everybody had to get good at some point in order for them to tell others to get good. Exactly, right? It's a failure to sympathize with the people who are, you know, going through that kind of stuff too. And it's like, what's really irritating is that back then, especially in you don't usually do this a lot in Dota. In Dota. You don't do this a lot in League. You do a lot of this in Dota. Off-meta builds in Dota. Well, I guess sometimes in LoL as well. They're really fun to experiment and play around. But if you're experimenting, there's a chance it'll fail. Right? Because you're not playing meta. So it's like, I really want to play an off-meta style of this character, but it's probably not gonna work. I'm gonna get flamed, I'm gonna get hate comments, I'm gonna be told to get good. But when that build finally eventually clicks, you're gonna eat your words. in League, a certain few champs you can get away with like off meta builds. I mean, my personal favorite. Although sometimes it's not even off meta anymore because it becomes more popular that it just becomes the new way to play the game. But I personally love my AP Malphite. Dealt so much damage. They hated my top lane AP Malphite. Hello, Aztec. We were just talking about League of Legends. We're just talking about Dota and League. And now, you see what I mean, Jeff? AP Malph has now become meta. Man. It felt so nice back in the day. You felt like such a genius for figuring out AP Malph. And now he's meta. Kinda. Yeah. But that's the way it is in LoL. In Dota, you really are encouraged to kind of experiment. Because let me put it this way, chat. In League, with your 3 lanes, the roles are so... What do you call it? They're so set in stone. You have a solo top laner, you have a solo mid lane, you have 2 people, you have the carry and the support in bottom lane, and you have a jungler. That's the meta. That's the way it always has been. That's the way the team comps work in League. In Dota, there is no such thing. In Dota, it's so wild. You don't play MOBA, so you've been lurking in here for the last 5 minutes. Well, I'll put it this way, Sketch, in a way to make it very easy to understand. So you usually have 3 lanes and you have designated roles that you're supposed to do with each one, no? In Dota, it's crazy. It's almost like a free-for-all. There was one time we were just supposed to do, okay, let's do the standard thing. 2 people up top, 1 guy in center, 2 guys in bottom lane. All right, sure. I was the guy in mid. Lo and behold, I see 5 people in my lane. I'm like, guys, I'm gonna need some help here. There are 5 people in my lane. And they're like, it's okay. There's just 5. If there's 5 people in the lane, that means we can push the other 2 lanes a lot more freely. You can just stall. And because there are 5 people in the lane, they're going to be splitting the experience a lot. It's like, okay, sure. They didn't realize the 5 people in mid lane were a stack that were built for push. So yeah. Nobody was listening to me. I said, I need help down here. And then it wasn't until they had already pushed into our base that they actually bothered to come and help. And I'm like, ugh. But to be fair, I did enjoy that chaos in Dota. I did enjoy how wild and chaotic the gameplay was there. With League, it's like, it was just a bunch of... It kind of felt a little stale because you had the same characters in the same lanes. Wasn't that much freedom, Yeah. Watching early League days, there was no jungle. People just roamed through jungle in every lane. Damn. Sen was a victim of the mid lane Aram. Yeah. You prefer games like Paladins because you couldn't get into point-and-click gameplay for MOBAs. Yeah. Riz, you had to mention Paladins. Because every time Paladins gets mentioned, I inevitably have to talk about Overwatch. I do like Paladins. But it always just goes back to remind me of the wasted potential of Overwatch, man. You were heavy into Smite. Cool. You could use a controller and be fine. You played Paladins for Amelia Watts. Victor, that's exactly what I did do. I picked up that game so quickly because I realized, oh my god, the Ame voice pack, the announcer pack is about to go. I'm not sure if I'll play this game dedicatedly, but I'm gonna play it to get that Ame voice, and then I'm good. And I will say I did enjoy it. I did enjoy it quite a bit. It's underrated, but it's quite solid. Paladins is your favorite MOBA? Nice. Ame needs a pack for CSGO too. Aztec, I want a battle. I want a battle announcer pack for any game. Or like, if you have death replays or anything like that, you could hear his voice line. He could hear him go, "Hey, watch this!" Bang! And then he's the one who dies. God, that collab they did, I'll never forget that. It was him, Altair, and Shinri. They're playing CSGO, and Metal was like, "Oh, thank you for the super chat. Happy birthday. This one's for you." Boom, gets sniped. It's like, holy crap, you couldn't have timed it better if you tried. And of course, cue the Shinri wheeze afterwards. Oh man, that would be great. Ako kin Master Heirloom would sell like patents. If we had official collabs with Apex, I still have not tried Apex. I'm saving it for maybe one day. We can do that fun little stream, right? Three boomers or 3 people who've never tried Apex play Apex for the first time. That would make for fun content. Only FPS you've touched is CS Source. Jeff, you are OG. You don't enjoy team round-based shooters. Yeah. I did prefer the format of Paladins and Overwatch, honestly. Yeah. Yes, I did hear about that one, Lion. The Apex tournament hosted by Selen. That's gonna be fun. That's gonna be really fun. OG, you still remember playing the old Red faction on PC way back when? I almost read Red Alert and I'm like, Red Alert? You were an old school Unreal Tournament player. Chris, you are an old school gamer, my friend. You're not even gonna say COD. Last you played was Prim. To be fair, before COD, Medal of Honor was the name of the game. Medal of Honor was the name of the game. In fact, Call of Duty, if you didn't know, was a struggling franchise up to that point. It really wasn't until we got Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare that they took over and then left Medal of Honor in the dust. But before then, they were struggling hard. You know, it's funny you bring up Medal of Honor. My dad and I, Papa War Chief and I, used to have these little mini competitions. We would play the old Medal of Honor games on the PS1, and we would play missions to see who could perform better. It'd be like, who could get the most headshots in this mission? Who could get the most ball shots in this mission? Boy, that was some good times. Those were some good times. I had a lot of good gaming memories with Papa War Chief. Headshot with the rapper down. So we would just like, because after in Medal of Honor, after you finish a mission, there's a tally of how many headshots and special kills that you got. So my dad and I would be competing there. It was some fun days. These days you only play Doom. 2016 Prim or the old school Doom? Because Doom 2016 is fan-freaking-tastic. I go back to 2016 Doom. I don't go back to Doom Eternal. It's fun at the beginning, but it just gets a little bit too hectic, no? Halo 1 was magnificent. Jeez. Man, do you remember those times? Do you guys remember Red versus Blue? That machinima animation based on Halo? Dang. Where have the times gone? You play Classic. You have 2016 but can't play it. Oh, I see. Hello, Chris. Speaking of ball shot, you can try those competitions in Sniper. Yes, Sniper Elite's kill cams are the best. Yes. Oh, also, Chris, thanks for the reco. The earphones had finally arrived. KZs, they're great. Thanks for the recommendation again. Takes you back to the days when you went to the store to buy a piece of cardboard that had your Xbox Live membership, so you could play Halo 2 online. You saw in the VODs? Nice. If you don't feel like rotting your brain on League Aram, you rot your brain on SCBW? SCB. Oh, StarCraft Brood War. Okay. I usually just I'm very used to people just abbreviating that as StarCraft 1, and then I just assume that of course it's Brood War, you know. StarCraft, man. The holy trinity of games that we used to play back in the day were Call of Duty 4. This is with me and my friends back in the day. Call of Duty 4, StarCraft, and then of course Dota. I was always shit at FPS games. So what I would always do in Call of Duty, I would run around with an RPG. That's all I wanted to do. I had an RPG and I was running around the map and I was always pointing it downward. If I saw someone from the enemy team, I'm blowing up. If I managed to take out one of the better players on their team, I've done my job. Because I'm not going to contribute otherwise. I was always the explosives guy. I would just get the most amount of grenades, RPGs, what have you. Just blow myself up. You vaguely remember playing Brood War when you were 12 at an internet cafe. Oh, nice. Brood War, Frozen Throne. Yeah, Holy Trinity of RTS. Hell yes. Hell yes. R82 was a home kind of deal. It was, Jeff. It was. Have you played Mental Omega? The Yuri's Revenge mod. It's so good. Takes a while. It takes a while to get used to it, but it's so fun. It is so fun. So with StarCraft, you remember where your friends hated me. Your friends hated you because you always used the Dark Archons to convert the workers. Yes. To be fair, Chris, it was their fault for leaving their workers unattended. You were more brutal about it. You were more You were cool about it because you were using the Dark Archons. Me, I would just drop in zealots into their mining line and just attack from there if they were not equipped. 12 fully upgraded zealots in late game is terrifying. If they suddenly find their way in your base and they're just ripping it apart from inside, ooh, you are in for some hell. The path to getting good is paved with brutal lesson. Exactly la yun. Exactly. And that's why we should allow people to learn to get good, right? It's like you tell them get good, and it's like at one point you were the guy being told to get good. So let them learn. Let them learn. 2 minutes later, your base is gone. Yeah, Jeff, you just hear the hive cluster is under attack, and then suddenly, nope, you hear the side blades go, and then nope, done. No getting good anymore. We got skill-based matchmaking, so you're only playing people around your skill level. I mean, to be fair, Aztec, I do appreciate certain matchmaking implementations if they're done right. I remember when the news around Overwatch 2 was that these people were getting paired up with people 100 levels higher than them. Brilliant matchmaking. You're waiting for a... Oh no. You're waiting for an RTS holo indie. Oh no. What would an RTS Hololive indie game look like? What would that look like? Because I can make simple 3D models of the buildings. Each gen would be a faction. Wait. Could be. And then I guess kind of like Holo Parade. Holo Parade, yeah, the mascots are your basic units. Who are the workers? No. The workers are Nosagis. If Holocure has told us anything, the workers are gonna be Nosagis. Another way you can take it is ENID and JP as factions, but you'll have to do some balancing because JP as a faction has a massive amount of units because of all the people in there. You know? Gosh, that's fun. That would be fun. I do appreciate it though when there are still some healthy communities out there that instead of telling you to get good, they explain to you how to get good. I will say, chat, surprisingly, while there are still a lot of elitists in the fighting, in some fighting games, generally, Street Fighter 6's community has been pretty decent. Like, sometimes I look at Reddit posts, it's like, how do I anti-air as this particular character? And if someone probably asks that question from before and I find that post, and people are generally helpful. Like, oh, if this is what they're doing, then you have to do this, this, and this. It's reaction-based, it's tough, you have to get used to it. Like, wow, I do appreciate that kind of, that kind of support. SF6 seems to have a good community. Yes, I would say so. It has a pretty decent community. We just don't talk about the monetization they did for the costumes. Oh, Lord. It's sad that we're surprised. Yeah. SF has a solid tutorial and strat sharing community, especially Street Fighter 6. It's clear to me that Street Fighter 6 was built with a lot of accessibility in mind. That they made sure to make it the most easy to pick up Street Fighter, even if it's still a difficult game. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying it's an easy game. No, it's still a tough game, but they made sure that even if it is tough, it doesn't feel so daunting for someone new to try Street Fighter for the first time and play it. I mean, look at Hololive. Look at Hololive. You know? If you're in the right circle, fighting game communities can be quite helpful. Yes, indeed. But yeah, look at Hololive. I mean, the stars already, like, they play fighting games a lot. But look at how many of the girls started Street Fighter 6 for the first time, or first time picking up Street Fighter to begin with. And it's so cute to me that Korone and Pekora were trying to get Suisei to play Street Fighter, and she picked up Juri. I see some Reddit posts now of like, oh, here's a list of everyone's mains in Street Fighter. It's like, it feels like a great timeline to be in, no? SF6 feels like they took modern mechanics from more complex fighters, simplified them to make them more fun and less punishing. Agreed, Chris. One of the big things with Street Fighter 6 as well is that I know people are still mixed on this with the whole modern controls thing, but I honestly do think that modern controls were one of the best implementations they could have made in Street Fighter 6. Have I seen Subaru playing SF6 in plat ranked? Yes, I've seen that, where she was learning the techniques. She learned to do conditioning. You know, she was just hitting her opponents with like light normals. And then the moment they were gonna block, she picks them up and does a throw. And I'm like, that's it. She's learning, you know, because they made it easy to pick up, easy to learn, and easy to get into it. Sora fighting Zangief. I've seen so many of those clips, Prim. And Sora's little warcry. Sora's warcry every time she does a super is the most adorable thing. In the end, Plat Plus in any fighting game can tend to be one massive game of chicken. Oh yeah. Fighting games becoming more popular in VTubing makes you really happy. Yes. Sketch. Agreed. And it's so cool to me, the fact that they're the ones, like, you know, it's within their little circle, you know, Pekora and the Korone, they were encouraging other people to try out the game, and now so many of them have at least tried it, picked it up. Subaru's pretty damn good at the game, I will say. I'm impressed. SF6 and Idol Showdown opened that door, for sure. So it's like, don't knock the modern controls, because a lot of new people who aren't very intense fighting game purists picked up Street Fighter 6 precisely because it had the modern controls. And the more people that play your game, well, that means, you know, the more people play your game, the more of a success it'll be, the more you guarantee future installments and improvements to the game. So yeah. I'm just happy though that, you know, there are right ways to get good. Okay, that was fun. And I think we can the more expensive the deal. Okay, funny enough, Victor, that's actually the perfect segue into what is gonna be the topic next week. Well, not next week, the next time. Monetization. And how they abused the out of it. We're gonna be talking about about monetization in video games. Because, oh my god, SF6 was doing everything so well until the freaking costumes. We will talk about gacha, Chris. We will talk about gacha. Talk about microtransactions. We'll talk about Star Wars Battlefront 2. Will that stream be 12 hours long? Loot boxes, battle passes, event passes. Oh. Maybe for that one we can have an extended extended playlist chat. Ooh. And if anything too, we have to also mention if it's just like, you know, monetization. Mobile games. Mobile games, chat. They're microtransactions. Run! Yeah, right? So that episode is gonna be interesting for sure. But for now, I'm gonna let you guys go. And have you celebrate your weekends, all right? We will have the weekly roundup tomorrow at the usual time on the reaction channel, all right? So with that, I would say this session is adjourned. Everybody, please take care of yourselves. Have a lovely rest of your day, afternoon, and evening, and I will catch you guys in the next one. This is Senator War Chief signing out. Otso Sen.